afternoon. My name is Alena Shautsova. I'm an immigration attorney from Brooklyn, New York. In today's live Facebook presentation, I would like to provide you with some updates regarding recent immigration news and practices. What I learned, what we all learned during the week. Well, first of all, there is news regarding expedited removal. ICE released guidelines as to who will fall under the new expedited removal practices. And expedited removal, I had a video on that. Expedited removal is a type of removal in the United States when a person who does not have status in the United States can be removed out of the United States without seeing a judge. Because usually the regular practice in the United States is that when a person is found to be with no status, he or she can see the judge. It's called due process rights. So hi Joanne, hi guys, thank you for joining me. So expedited removal. So who I said will be subjected or will be subject of that expedited removal, who can be grabbed and sent back home. Thank God not everyone. What they stated is first, number one, unaccompanied children, unaccompanied minors are not going to be subject to expedited removal. It's very important. But what you need to know is that an unaccompanied minor for federal immigration purposes is a child under 18 years old, who is not and cannot have a custody of their legal guardian or parent in the United States. Okay, so it's not just every child. If a child travels to the United States with their parents, they may be subject, together with parents, they can be expeditiously removed. If it's an unaccompanied minor, it's a term of art. It's a legal definition as to who can be unaccompanied minor. Then such a child cannot be expeditiously removed out of the United States. But check this out. In many states, a child is somebody who is who has not reached 21. For immigration purposes, it's someone who has not reached 18 years old. Okay, there is a special determination that has to be made to find a child to meet the definition of an accompanied minor. It's very important. Another important point is that a person now can be anywhere in the United States. If before, when ICE would encounter a person and would like to expeditiously remove them out of the United States, a person would have to be within 100 miles from the border. Now the person can be anywhere. Let's say from New York, a person apprehended in New York. And if he or she meets other criteria, then they can be expeditiously removed. So what is it that criteria? According to the new guidelines, it's a person who cannot show, does not have inspection or admission or parole. What is inspection and admission for immigration purposes? A person who comes to the United States with a visa is inspected and admitted. Sometimes a person who comes to the United States on someone else's visa using false documents is regarded to be inspected and admitted. Okay, as long as they went through the customs, they committed other immigration violation, immigration fraud, but they're inspected and admitted. However, a person who enters or comes to the United States using U.S. citizen's passport is not considered to be inspected or admitted. Very important. Paroled person. Who is paroled? Well, parole is usually given, for example, to somebody who's traveling on advance parole or somebody who's been paroled into the United States for humanitarian purposes. So such a person also will not be subject to an expedited removal. But somebody who crossed the border, right? Somebody who crossed the border will be, okay? So that's very important. So basically I stated that it can be a person who is apprehended anywhere in the United States, who has not been admitted, inspected, and admitted or paroled, and who was not able to demonstrate to the satisfaction of the immigration officer that he or she has continuously resided in the United States for 2 years. So if a person, let's say, who crossed the border has been living in the United States for more than 2 years, such a person cannot be subject to expedited removal. It's very, very important. Because again, expedited removal, a person cannot see the judge. There are very limited defenses to expedited removal. I have an article about that on my website as to what a person can apply for if he or she is subjected to expedited removal. And the rights, the due process rights, are significantly cut, significantly reduced in expedited removal type of proceedings in the United States. Okay, so we finally have those clear guidelines as to who is going to be targeted, and of course, it can be anyone, anywhere in the United States, Chicago, Texas, Arizona, anywhere, New York. It doesn't matter where the person is going to be apprehended. Very important. Okay. Another news is that USCIS is planning on rejecting many work permits that were filed in connection with pending asylum applications that were filed without the $85 filing fee. And this can be expected also for people, who are members of those two non-for-profit organizations, ASAP and CASA. It's very important to know that, to understand that. So if you are one of those members and you will find yourself in a situation where your application was rejected, even though USCIS was supposed to accept it, okay? Don't blame your lawyer that the lawyer did something incorrect. It's actually going to be probably an issue that will be posed before a judge in the class action case as to why USCIS is doing that. Because what happened with that lawsuit where two non-for-profits sued the government is that the new asylum work permit rule was not supposed to apply to members of ASAP and CASA at all. But USCIS took a position that those people still would have to pay $85 biometrics fee. Okay, so this is another important news. As I said, if you're going to find yourself in that situation, do not be upset. It's basically not your lawyer's fault. The lawyers most likely did not know. Nobody knew actually that they're going to do that, to be honest. But it will be resolved. Okay, it will be resolved either with resubmission, or currently ASAP is collecting information from the members who will experience this situation, whose application for work permits can be rejected. So don't be upset if this is going to happen. Okay. So these are the most important news. I just wanted to give you these two updates. So if you are somebody who you believe you may be subjected to this expedited removal, you need to know your rights. You need to get ready for that, because I anticipate more ICE raids. We already actually have been seeing them, but of course ICE does not announce, they will not announce that we're going to be raiding or targeting this or this population and this or that city. We usually find out that they had an operation after the fact, right? When they report as to how many people they detained. So you know that you have to have proof of your legal entry into the United States, so-called legal entry into the United States, or you have to have proof that you've been in the United States for 2 years continuously, okay? Not to find yourself in a strange situation. So now, if you guys have some questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Hi Orlando, hi AJ. Hi, can I become ASAP member from New York? Yes, absolutely you can. You can fill out the membership request form online. You just need to find the website, and there will be like at least you could do it last week, a week ago. I know that they had a lot of requests for membership just for people who would like to resolve their work permit issues. So I think they're still accepting new members. And it's free. You don't have to pay any fee. Okay, you can. Can I marry you and get my papers? Oh no, you cannot marry me, okay? Hi, I would be able to adopt my brother's son if he doesn't have anybody to take care of him. You know, perhaps. It depends on how old the child is, okay? And also for immigration purposes, there are different two types of adoptions, okay, according to the Hague Convention and without the Hague Convention. So it's a complicated issue, all right, because I know that you think if you adopt him under the local laws, you'll be okay, but you also need to take into consideration that you probably would like that kid to be here with you, okay? So you will need to probably consult with an immigration lawyer as to what needs to be done and how old the kid is and things like that, okay? Because not anybody can be adopted for immigration purposes. I know that some countries, as I've heard, I don't know, you can even adopt somebody who's pretty old, like 21, for example, not in the United States and not for the United States immigration purposes. Hi, Ari. My husband was in detention in New Jersey for 2 years, currently filing for I-212. Is he at risk of expedited removal? I don't think so. It seems that he already has an order of deportation against him, most likely, okay, if he's filing I-212. So usually expedited removal is for someone who's been just found, right? So the idea behind the expedited removal is that, and how it was used before, is just basically a person just crossed the border, the person got apprehended and sent back. Now they just expanded this circle of people who is found. Now they say that recently will be not like within 2 weeks, but 2 years. That's what's recently for ICE right now. And not within very close proximity to the border, but anywhere in the United States, okay? But somebody who's been already through system, somebody who has an order of removal is not subject to expedited removal. That's not your situation. I don't think so. Hi, Hussam. I got my interview for I-45 this week. I guess I'm not passing. So if there will be a second interview, how long is it going to take? I heard it's more than 2 years. And then removal proceedings in court. Well, first of all, why do you believe you're not going to pass it? I think if it's I-45 based on marriage, perhaps you should discuss it with your partner, right? And try to prepare for it. If if your partner does not want to come with you to the interview, then you'll have to address that issue differently, okay? You still have to show up for the interview. If you guys don't pass the interview, you will have what's called Stokes interview, but it does not take 2 years to have that. It's usually a matter of several months. And I don't think COVID changed that to several years situation. Usually it's a matter, especially if you have an attorney, usually it's a matter of a couple of months. Hi, Sadaf. My husband is there for 3.5 years and filed his asylum. It's been 1.5 years, but not got an interview. Me and 4-year-old daughter want to come to him because a lot of difficulties facing here alone. Can my husband file humanitarian visa for us to get there immediately? Well, it's called humanitarian parole, okay? Can he file? Absolutely he can. But in my experience, and I tell to all my clients, it's very difficult, okay? Very difficult to have an approval. But he absolutely can try and should try, especially if you guys have strong evidence that you're going through some situations related to his asylum claim. Of course you can try that, okay? But that's the probably only option for you guys at that point, unfortunately. Hi, Jose. I'm an asylum pending and should participate on my first hearing last August 4th, but on a phone that was postponed because of COVID-19. Do I need a hard copy document proving that, as nothing I have received by mail from the immigration? Yeah, I mean, the interview for asylum, depending, of course, on your state, but the interviews have been taking place, okay? If you're saying that an asylum officer called you and stated that you interview, or your lawyer, and stated that the interview is not going to take place, I would say usually they will give you something in writing about that. So they're not going to register you as no show. I would tell you to discuss that with your lawyer. If you don't have a lawyer, I would write a letter to your local asylum office where the interview would have taken place. Okay, just to make sure that it was a legitimate phone call and not somebody who just decided to cancel for you your interview. Okay, and that they don't have it as you just didn't show up. Okay, that's important. Usually the government sends you a reschedule notice. They say that they will reschedule your interview. So that's kind of strange, I would say. Yeah. Hi Funella, hi Bibola, hi Arb, hi Iqbal, hi Terry, good evening, hi Maurice. Yes, so that's about all news we have for today. Let me see how long usually it takes to get the results after the third step interview. Which interview did you have? What benefit you were filing for? If you're talking about a green card interview based on marriage, usually within 2 weeks. That's about hi Ruby. That's about the regular time frame for someone to receive a result after the interview. Hi Funella, I had a removal procedure which was administratively closed. Can I still apply for my citizenship? No, sweetheart. What happens is that removal proceedings, if they're administratively closed, it means you are still in removal. It's just paused, okay? Most likely you are, if you were charged with removability, usually you would not qualify for citizenship. There is an exception as to when a person is placed in removal proceedings, the judge, the prosecutor agrees for you to file for naturalization, and then the judge closes the case. Okay, so discuss it with your attorney if that was your case, but it doesn't sound like it. You may be in that limbo situation, okay, when you have this administrative closure, but it's actually, just so you understand, did not resolve your removal proceedings. Your removal proceedings are simply not active. That's what happened. Hi Hossam, I passed the interview. It's based on marriage and my wife didn't get answer within 120 days. Well, that's kind of long, you know, I didn't give me any paper. 120 days, I mean, did you have 2 interviews perhaps? Stokes interview, did you? No? Usually it's much sooner than that, I'll be honest with you. Okay, 120 days, it's what is it, 4 months, right? It's a little bit long. You can follow up with immigration, or maybe your lawyer knows better. Maybe there was a complicated case, okay? Hi Mohammed, how long will it take for asylum case interview? We've been waiting for more than 2 years. Oh Mohammed, some people are waiting for 4 or 5 years. Depends on when you file it, okay? Depends on when you filed it. Did you file before new order? Did you file it, after? But it takes long time, okay? And nobody knows. If somebody is going to tell you, I know when approximately you're going to be called for the interview, no one knows. Because there are cases that were filed in 2016, and some of them now are being called, and some are not being called for the interview. So it's kind of strange situation. All right, guys, so thank you very much for watching. Have a good weekend. Okay, thank you for joining me. I hope you're going to enjoy your weekend this week, and I will keep you updated regarding the most recent immigration news. And again, thank you for watching. Please like, share this video, and I hope to see you soon.